course, this weekend, UAB is a much improved football team. They're 2-1 in the conference, I believe there, and they're playing really good right now with a lot of confidence. They're coming off a Western Kentucky win and a North Texas win where they played extremely well against FIU when they lost. There they turned the ball over a bunch, and it's hard to win games when you turn it over. So they look to be a lot faster than what they were last year. They're more balanced this year in their offense, at least in what they were against us when we played them last year. They only threw it 9 times last year, and they came in and ran it a whole bunch. So it was a very competitive game, obviously, last year. They've got a new coaching staff. Bill Clark's done just a phenomenal job in the short time he's been there. They're well coached. They play hard. They're sound in all phases of the game, offense, defense, and the kicking game. They've got a dynamic punt returner back there who's made some big plays for them. And, so I know we'll get their best effort. There's a lot at stake for both teams here basically at the halfway mark, a game over the halfway mark. So I know we'll get their best effort, and they'll get our best effort as well. So I'll open it up to you guys.
Coach, Lou Holtz made an interesting comment on Saturday night I was watching. He said he worried about teams not coming back from a big win with a letdown, but maybe trying to recover and not suffering 2 losses in a row. You talked about how improved UAB is. How do you overcome that? Are you worried about that at all with this team?
We lost to Minnesota. We came back and won. We lost to Memphis. We came back and won. This team is very resilient. They're a tough-minded team. They're a mentally tough team. We'll respond. We've always responded to every challenge, to every setback, to every victory we've had. We rise to the occasion. So we'll put it behind us. We didn't play. We got beat by a good team against Marshall. There's a lot of people that have said that this year, played Marshall. So I'm not worried about. I've coached with Lou Holtz, so I've heard all his comments, and you got to be mentally tough enough to come back and play the next game. And it doesn't matter, if we'd have beat Marshall, they're not giving us any extra free points when we go play UAB. They're not taking any away from us because we lost. So we got to go play, and but I'm not worried about this team's mental approach.
They're another really good offense in Conference USA. You tired of playing the league's best offenses yet? Wouldn't you maybe like to sneak up on one of them at the bottom of the league maybe?
No, I mean, you look across the country, name me a bad offense. Everybody's putting up, 500-plus yards. Everybody's, scoring points. There's not a lot of teams other than Alabama and Arkansas will go 14-13, whatever that score was. I mean, it's it's tough being a defensive coach, a defensive player in today's offense. I mean, they stress your defense. Offenses stress your defense, and UAB is another example of a really talented offense that, like I said earlier, they're balanced. They can run the ball efficiently. They're throwing the ball better than what they did last year. They've got some dynamic, skill players on both sides of the ball. I think their corners are good. I think their receivers are good. Their quarterback's playing well. So we'll play another good offense the following week, and the following week, it's just the way college football is now.
Having said that, like you mentioned, there are some defenses out there that are playing well. How do you get your defense to play better?
I think I'm not, we can improve in all areas of our football team, offensively, special teams, defense. And when you say our defense is not playing well, I'm going to disagree with you. Yeah, there's some areas that we can improve on, but we're doing some good things. And I'm not going to – I got a lot of confidence in our defensive players, our coaches, and, the bottom line is to win the game, and we've done that 4 out of 7 times. So sometimes you got to give the other team credit. And like I said after the game against Marshall, I thought we covered their guys, pretty good. I mean, they made some really, really good catches and some really good throws. There weren't a whole lot of wide open catches. The first play of the game they hit a couple more in there, but a lot of those deep balls, we challenged pretty good. So, again, I'm not going to make excuses about anything, but we'll continue to work. We'll continue to get better. We'll continue to compete. But I got a lot of confidence in our defensive guys.
Shane Tucker comes back after dislocating his shoulder, scores, plays pretty well, makes some big plays for you. As a sophomore, just tell me about him and where he's come this year. I think he scored 9 touchdowns. He's right up there among the league leaders. Tell me about Shane and obviously his toughness. It really seemed to show on just being able to play on Saturday.
He's a very good football player. He's a smart football player. He sees the field well. He's got good vision both in the running game and in the passing game. I've said it earlier, he caught 55 balls his senior year in high school. So he's been exposed to the passing game. He runs good routes. He can set defenders up good. He's got good patience running the football and setting up blocks and being patient behind blocks. He's a physically tough guy. He's just a really, really good football player and continues to improve with each snap that he gets.
I noticed he lined up in the slot a lot on Saturday. Is there a guy that you could compare him to, whether it's in this league or in the NFL, or just a guy or how you and Coach Faulkner are utilizing him on offense?
Well, he wasn't really in the slot. He was, a little bit, splitting the tackle there to get him, just a quicker release. But all our backs are very capable in the passing game. Reggie does a nice job, Jordan and Jeremiah as well. So, they all catch the ball good, and we'll continue to utilize those guys and utilize Shane as much as we can, in different sets and different formations, different schemes throughout the course of the year where you think you might have an advantage with a one-on-one matchup. But again, Shane is a smart football player, and he affords you the luxury of being able to move him around a little bit in the passing game.
When you see a team like UAB that's picked toward the bottom of the league at the preseason, but then they come out and they're 4-2 and 2-1, what does that tell you about their locker room and their coaching staff and how they prepared through the first 6 games of their season?
It just proves to you that the media usually doesn't know who to pick. That preseason stuff, I've never I think it's a waste of time because you don't know. Each team changes from year to year, and when you vote on it in the summer, you're basing your vote on what you saw last year. But like I said earlier, they're a much improved team. They gave us, a battle. We went to the last second of the game last year against them, and we were fortunate enough to pull it out. So I know firsthand how talented they are, how good they are. And like I said earlier, I think Coach Clark has come in there and done a nice job. And when you win, it breeds confidence. And, they got beat by Mississippi State. They got beat by FIU, which they probably think, they let one slip away because of the turnovers. But they're a good football team, and I would think that they're a very confident football team, sitting here at 4-2 compared to where they were, at this time last year.
They hung up 34 points on Mississippi State, and I'm sure you've watched that film. And then the Western game, another league foe. Having watched those 2 games now, what do you see that they do really well? What is the one thing that you're going to have to stop on Saturday, and then vice versa? What's the one thing you're going to have to do well if you're going to beat them?
Well, You know, they're very balanced. They don't make a lot of self-inflicted mistakes. You've got to beat them. You've got to win the one-on-one matchups. Obviously, defensively, you know, it starts with stopping the run. We've got to do a good job of stopping the run. You know, offensively, I'm a broken record. We can't turn the ball over. You can't give teams extra at-bats. We gave Marshall, you know, 2 extra at-bats, and, you know, they scored on one of the drives or one of the turnovers. You know, so we've got to do a great job protecting the ball. At times against Marshall, you know, we were efficient and did a good job on early downs and, you know, to try to get us out of some 3rd and long situations. But for the most part, we weren't as effective as we would like to have been. So we've got to be more consistent on 1st and 2nd down, on the early downs, to give us a chance to convert on 3rd downs. And, you know, so I think it starts with defensively. You know, you got to stop the run and protect the ball on offense.
Coach, several weeks ago now, you made a lot of headlines in the coverage here in the Middle Tennessee area about being the lead dog in the conference because you guys got off to that hot start. With the Marshall loss, if you're not the lead dog anymore, what are you?
We're behind the chains. I mean, we got to all we can do is control what we can control. You know, this time last year, I told the team, or after the Marshall game last year, you know, we were basically out of it. We had 2 losses. We had lost to East Carolina and North Texas. That was Marshall's first loss when we beat them, so we needed East Carolina to lose twice and somebody else to beat Marshall for us to have a chance, and, you know, that's a tall order. So, you know, we were basically out of it. This year, we're very similar to what Marshall was last year. This is our first loss. Last year was Marshall's first loss, and they found a way. We need some help, obviously. Somebody's got to knock Marshall off, but we can't. You know, we don't get a chance to do that. So we need some help. But the big thing is, Paul, we just got to, you know, we got to win against UAB. We got to win this game to stay in the hunt. Hopefully things, you know, we might get a break here or there. A ball bounce our way one time where we get a shot, you know, at it. So. There's still a lot of season left. There's a heck of a lot to play for, you know, to be sitting here at, you know, yeah, you'd like to be 4-0. We're 3-1. There's no woe is me. There's nobody feeling sorry for anybody. We're not going to baby them. They don't want to be babied. You know, tough it up and let's go and see if we can get us a win this week.
You talked a little earlier about how good your team has been at bouncing back. Why do you think they've been so successful at that?
Well, you know, one, I think we're mentally tough. I think we do a good job communicating with our players. I think we do a good job of not getting too high, not getting too low. And that's why I say all the time, you don't emphasize one game over the other because every game is important. Each game. Each game, each week is a season in itself, and that's what I told the team yesterday. This week is a season in itself. There's nothing more important than this week, and you know, then the following week, then you put this one behind and you go start working on open date and then BYU and all that stuff. So I just think the resiliency of our team, the maturity of our team, the mental approach that we take as coaches and players, I think they understand what they did good in any game, and I think they understand what they did bad, what we have to improve on in games that we didn't do as well. So I think all that goes together.
Saturday, I know it obviously wasn't the outcome you guys were wanting, but how do you learn from that? What's the one thing that maybe as an offense you're going to take away and say you have to do better here in your you know, as you guys hit the stretch run?
Well, I think the most important thing is we have to protect the ball. Any game that, you know, we have 1 to 2 turnovers, it's tough for you, especially when you give Marshall the football. It's a really good team. So we just have to, you know, lock in on the little things, protect the ball, and get back on a winning track, which we're going to do.
The running game, you know, at times on Saturday really seemed to, you know, give you guys some momentum. Jordan ran well. You know, Shane played well. Why is that the one thing? It seems like whenever you guys aren't playing well, the running game's not going well. Why is the running game so important to this offense?
I don't know. It's just it's our culture, you know, all summer long. We build for the run, and we have, you know, I think the 4 best backs in the conference. Inside zone was kind of working for us, and I don't know. It's just, I think it's vital to any offense to run the ball, especially with our young quarterback. It opens up things for Austin, and it helps out the receivers too.
UAB on Saturday. I know you guys could desperately use a bye week to get some of these injuries healed. How do you finish strong before you get to that off week, and what's that going to take to beat UAB on Saturday?
We just got to stay mentally locked in, finish it out. I've never played this long without a bye, but that's no excuse, you know. We got to take care of our bodies and go out and get this victory and go out and try to win the conference still.
Isaiah, Coach was talking about the resiliency of this team, sort of, in a way, having amnesia after a game. You forget about it, you move on to the next one. How important is it to have that ability, especially coming off a loss at Marshall?
I mean, it's very important. Like I said, this team, everybody on this team, you know, we hate to lose. We want to go out and win every game, and so I think the biggest thing is after a loss, we always want to get that taste out of our mouth and come back and get a W.
Tell me about your buddy Schubert. He's really kind of come alive here in the last 3 games, really, you know, making his presence felt on the defensive line. Just tell me about him as a teammate. What is it that he really excels at? I know he's kind of seems like a quiet guy, at least when I interview him, so just kind of tell me about the type of player he is.
Well, he's more than just a great player. He's actually one of my best friends on the team. Everything he does is just amazing. You got to see how much he works and how much he cares about the game. He's always teaching me new things, and he always wants to help other players be successful. He's really a very unselfish teammate, and he's very consistent with how he plays. And he's not the most quiet guy. Once you get him talking, he doesn't stop some days, but he's definitely a great player. Just the way he comes out each and every week with the goal, and he's always doing whatever it takes to achieve that goal. And he's one of those teammates that you have that you'll never be disappointed in, and you can always rely on him no matter what the situation is.
I was looking at the numbers. I think you guys have played 4 of the top 5 offenses in the conference. The 5th one you guys will play on Saturday. No rest for the weary. Isaiah just said he's never played this long without a bye. How do you guys stay focused for 5 more days before you finally get to a point where you can at least, you know, take a break and maybe not have the stresses of what you've had for the last 3 months?
You just got to use the week that you get off as a reward for yourself and just say, you dig this out, and you have to play with that mental toughness that Coach always tells us about, because that's one of his 5 recipes for winning is toughness. And your toughness, it won't always be physical, because everybody is going to be tired at this point. Even the other team should be tired at this point. But you have to take it upon yourself to always prepare. Like Isaiah said, take care of your body. Make sure you do the right things off the field, and make sure you eat and get your rest that you need every night, and just stay mentally tough the whole way through.
This defense, how do you guys get better from here? I know Coach said that he thinks you guys are playing well. How do you continue to improve?
Well, you take the film from all the mistakes, you learn from it, and then you bury it, like Coach Polly was saying yesterday. There's many things that we can learn from, and it would be a mistake. The worst mistake would be to come back and play again with repeating the same mistakes that we did over and over. But we'll come back learning from all our mistakes, and we'll do what we have to do to win this week.
Is that something you guys have been doing this year, you feel like? Do you feel like you have, from each game you've learned from your previous mistakes and corrected them to this point?
I would say yes, sir. We have been. We've been working hard every single day, watching film on the field. Whenever something needs to be corrected, we get it corrected. yesterday in practice, we decided to go on ahead and make extra steps and stayed focused. I really liked how focused our defense was at the end of the practice.